Okay, so I wanted to share something live, and I'm going to be candid today. I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable, and I am going to share with you just something that came in the last, like, it came to me in the last 45 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. Maybe you saw my post on the feed. My husband and my daughter both caught a bug. It's literally a bug. Hi, Emily, Emercio, and Johanna, and Xiomara. So they caught a bug, and I took care of them all weekend, even though I really wanted to go out. I really wanted to do all kinds of fun things. I mean, who doesn't? I thought this is going to be the weekend, dinner and whatever. Didn't happen because everyone got sick. And I looked at my husband like, you don't look that sick. He's like, I feel horrible. Okay. 4 days have passed. Hi, bae. And I'm starting to get the symptoms. And I start drinking my tea. I have my little routine. And my stomach hurts. And I don't know what you're like. I'm the kind of person that I kind of hover over my things. It might sound a little like Ouija board or whatever. Weird, like, ooh, tell me what I need. But I do. I just gonna go in my, I don't touch anything. I just gotta go on what pops at me. That's what I use. And so what pops at me is this bottle that I haven't used in a while because it's pretty big. It's supposed to be for like leg cramps and massages, and I'm like, I don't know why, but I need it. And I grabbed that and I rubbed my stomach with it because I started feeling like my body was broken, my stomach was bloated, and the room was spinning. And you know what that means. That means and I drank my tea and I drank my broth, and it's not staying down. And now it's literally half an hour ago, right? And I grabbed this other bottle that I normally don't use for this kind of thing because it's supposed to be a sports blend for muscle pains and backaches and so on. And I smell it, and I always put my hands like this, like both of them, and I inhaled it, and I laid down, and in seconds I started feeling like, that moment when you've had like an analgesic or whatever you call that, like you popped a paracetamol or whatever ever. I don't even know what other names there are anymore. But you pop something that's for pain. And always, let's say you got hurt and you hurt your ankle and you get something for the pain. Isn't there like a wait period, and then you feel it kicking in, and it's that moment where you go, oh yeah, that's so good. Well, that happened with that oil immediately, like within less than a minute. And I was sitting there thinking, this is weird because it's not supposed to be for stomach that I know of. It's for, bruised ankles, sore joints. It's for people. It's called sport. The name has sport in it, so it's for, sport. For athletic situations where you get hurt. So I'm thinking, I don't have that. That's weird. And I sat there and I thought about it because there's an oil in it, a plant in it I'm very familiar with. I know it very well. And I know the name, and I know the chemical, the real plant name and the chemical name, or not the real plant name. I don't know the botanical name, to be honest. I just wrote it down because I thought, that's interesting. I was sitting and thinking about it. What's in a smell? Like, why did it have such a deep impact on me so quickly? Not only is the oil for cramps, like when you're feeling like you're about to, that feeling, it's actually also for that. It also helps that. And I picked up my essential oils Bible because my herbal Bible, it's like this big, huge ass book. And I thought, let me write about it and then share about it. Not because it's amazing. And sometimes I don't think about it. I just take it for granted. I want to share it with you guys. So I'm looking at what this oil does and it's wintergreen. And if you don't know what wintergreen is, it's a family of a mint. Well, it's not really a mint, actually. It's something else, but I always forget. You got spearmint. They're in the same category, as in they have the sensation, you know, the hot sensation, the warm sensation, and that particular plant, the constituent or the chemical that creates that sensation is synthetically made, and it's put in all kinds of sports cream all around. And you probably have a grandma or an aunt, an old aunt or a grandpa that's always putting that stuff on you, like that balm with that wintergreen. And it's also put in chewing gum as a flavoring. So we actually use it a lot in, you know, in synthetic format. And that's something I learned a long time ago. I just didn't think about what it meant for me. Like, what's in that smell? I didn't just feel better on a physical level, like my body stopped. I stopped having the cramps. I'm like, ooh, I feel better. But I also felt like an emotional connection. I don't know if you've ever had that you smell something and it brings you back to a happy moment or not so happy one. I don't know if you've had that. Can you just like pop in the comments a heart or a thumbs up if smells remind you of, you know, grandma's pie, lunch at your favorite aunt, coffee with your dad, your mom's awesome ham. Smells can go really deep into emotions, and patients of trauma will often be triggered by smells as well. And so smell is very powerful. And it got me thinking when I started feeling that, where do I know that smell from? Like wintergreen in specific, that plant, which is also called, oh, I'm going to screw that up, but I'm going to say it anyway. Gaultheria procumbens, and it's a family of the Ericaceae, something like that. And it's used, this particular plant has constituents that are in the industry, in the world of creating products. It's widely used to flavor your chewing gum, for pain relief creams, all pain relief creams that are out there in the market. Like in Aruba, we use a lot of icy hot. Icy hot is that, and that's where the link was for me. Like when my grandfather always used to use icy hot since we were small, and they had these little bottles of like alcoholada and all kinds of minty, hot, cold. You know, when they put it on you, your body gets warm, but then you're in the bed, and you're like, because it's cold. Well, that kind of scenario. And when I smelt it, it was like I was transported into my grandfather's bedroom, where my grandma used to put icy hot on my back if I had a stomach ache, if I had gas. She'd massage my belly with that alcoholada, which is like a green bottle. And if you don't know the name of that constituent, it's an active ingredient in a lot of labels at the drugstore, and it's called methyl salicylate. Let me see if I said that right, because I have a habit of mangling difficult words. It's not even funny sometimes. Wintergreen, I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna grab it here. So I'm sharing with you the book. I'm reading this book because I am in the process of getting certified in aromatherapy. A first step, I've been doing essential oils for a very long time, and I do aromatherapy with my whole family. So for me, it's a logical step to, you know, go deeper. And I have the books. They're huge. They're very big. And we use them all the time. So, but wintergreen is also used in toothpaste. It's also present. It's a part of a combination of a medical treatment. Like my grandfather, for example, he had thrombose, which is what we call it in Papiamento or Dutch, you know, which is arteriosclerosis. Basically, his arteries created like calcification, and there was a layer of hard stuff inside of his veins, especially the little veins, they would get clogged up. He would get numb feet. We would massage them. And this is something we used to do when we were little kids, because my grandfather used to work all the time, and you get home, he'd be tired, he'd be like, okay, take off my socks. You massage foot that, you massage the other foot, and then he would be like, oh, I farted. And it would be like a combination of wintergreen and, my grandfather just killed us. You know, it's just part of life. But we used to massage his foot with wintergreen products, icy hot and all those things. So when I smelled the essential oil in that blend, when I put it on my stomach, I immediately went back to that time of massaging my grandfather's foot and realizing, like, hey, this oil, this scent, this smell, this aroma has a deeper link for me, because I don't use it very often, but when I do, I feel like safe and happy and connected. And I don't know what that is for you, but I do know we live very high stress lives today. And so if you have a way to get yourself back to a place of safety, serenity, and balance, is actually a great power to have. And so I'm sharing this oil with you because it might also be for you, because it's a very popular home remedy in our local community here in Aruba. Like, I think my grandma, she had all kinds of different bottles, and there was one particular one from Santo Domingo. It's called Frixilicont, which is a very strange name. But she would buy like 10 of those bottles whenever she found them, because they would run out. That's the situation here, the botica. They always run out. And when I started using essential oils, I told my grandma, that stuff is chemical. Because there are some companies who create the synthetic version of that ingredient, that active ingredient. And the active ingredient, you can see it in any of your pain creams that you buy at the supermarket or the botica, like a drugstore. You can just flip over the label and see active ingredient, and it's called methyl salicylate, methyl salicylate, and it's been, like it says, it's been incorporated into numerous ointments and liniments for musculoskeletal problems. Translation for the layman terms. They put it in all kinds of creams, potions, lotions, and oils for pains that have to do with your muscles, with your bones, with your, your, Jesus, I have that name in Dutch in my head, gewrichten, your... Anybody who's watching, if you know Dutch and I'm saying gewrichten, please post in there what that is in English, because I can't remember right now. So, like arthritis creams are pain creams for those kind of muscle stiffnesses and joints. That's it. I think gewrichten has joints. Yeah. I'm going with that. So it's also used in candies. So you might react to this oil, this methyl salicylate. Well, actually not the methyl salicylate, but the methyl salicylate also gives that smell, and it's a kind of minty, soft, sweet smell. It's not earthy like peppermint, and it's not super powerful like peppermint. It's just calming and very serene. And I'm going to share some interesting facts, things you didn't know. So in the Native American nations, they would take the wintergreen leaves and they would chew them so that they could run longer distances, because it helps them breathe better. So you know how when you're running, you end up like, well, they chew the leaf while they're running so they could run longer distances. That's pretty cool. So if you have a friend that is into running, well, I don't know if I would use wintergreen internally because it's pretty hot, but they could use it, inhale it to help them. And just something you should know, when you chew a leaf, you get a tiny little bit of essential oil. When you have an essential oil, that thing is super pure. That could be the equivalent of a whole bush. Not the whole drop, but a stack of leaves. No one's gonna chew a stack of leaves, but you need a lot. Usually, in general, in essential oils distillation process. Yeah, joins. Thank you, Jurgen. And so, when you have essential oils, it's super pure, so you don't need a lot. So I use essential oils. I don't pour a drop in my hand. I put my finger on the tip, on the top, and I tilt it, and I take a little bit because it's very powerful. A little goes a long way. And the other thing that Native Americans used to do with the wintergreen, which we don't anymore, but I think it's a good thing to consider, to have it in our toothpaste and our dental care products, but the natural one is they used to chew the leaves, let's say during the summer or maybe during the winter, I don't know what time period, but for several weeks they would make the children chew on the leaves so that their teeth would not decay. So I don't think that the Native Americans brush their teeth every day. They just kind of had a ritual with these plants that they chewed on them for a period of time to prevent tooth decay. So that's pretty interesting. And then you have during the Civil War in America that they substituted wintergreen for black tea. And I don't really know what that means because I don't drink black tea, but I'm pretty sure what I do know about black tea is that it's pretty strong and a favorite in different areas. So it may have been because of the strength that it had. But one of the interesting uses for arteriosclerosis, like I mentioned, and I'm not talking about essential oil, I'm talking about in general, methyl salicylate is used for those creams that help with muscles, they help with joints, they help with cartilage, they help with pain and muscle stiffness, and so on. And they're usually used in combination with aspirin. Like, that's how my grandfather used it. I remember he would massage his foot and all that stuff, or let us do it, and then he'll pop his aspirin, and that was his basic medically recommended treatment for his feet that were having constriction with the blood flow. So I don't know if you're familiar with what arteriosclerosis is, but it is when the arteries have obstructions, and it's not caused by cholesterol or anything like that I'm aware of, but there's a calcification happening or a hardening, so you're gonna have a difficulty with the blood flow, basically. And so my grandfather, he used to always get foot massages. I don't know a time that we didn't massage that man's feet. He had the softest feet. We had to do his nails, and it wasn't just me or my brothers or my sisters or my cousins or his children and my aunt or my mom or his wife. And my grandfather, his room was like the place to get a foot massage. And it was important because he was having trouble with his those arteries being like narrowed in and the blood flow having difficulty. But another couple of uses that are very interesting for what is wintergreen and the smell of this plant. It's also used, let me see here, to stimulate and increase awareness so you can feel more connected, basically to your senses. So if you're struggling with sensation, like maybe with your hands or your feet, or don't feel things very well for whatever reason, it really helps with that awareness. That's the influence of the fragrances. Like, for example, me, like just now what happened was I didn't just get that pain relief, like that my stomach calming down from smelling the oil and massaging my stomach with it, but also I felt very serene and in touch with myself. Like, I thought, why is the smell always so peaceful to me? Like, why does it make me feel so safe? And it's my grandfather, and I realized that I have some things that I need to deal with when it comes to that, because we all have emotional things that we put aside I don't know about you. All I know is that right now we live in very busy lives and a very busy world, and we're constantly going from one activity to the next. You're either running to catch a breath so you can eat, or running to make it on time to that meeting, to that appointment, to your job, to the bus. You're trying to meet deadlines for your work. You're trying to get enough attention from your partner, or give them the attention they want, and you want to catch that movie, and you want to do this and you want to do that, and we're living in these kind of lives. And so a lot of times people are struggling with having enough attention for their body's needs that bring them down to a more serene place. And that's one thing I love about using essential oils. It's become better and better as I became more and more aware that something is shifting, and it's happening. I don't have to wait 20 minutes or 60 minutes for something to kick in. Sometimes you take a pill and it takes time to kick in, and then you read the back of the label and you're a little bit nervous because it does say that your heart could stop. I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but I'm a curious person. I open my labels and I think, wait, it could give me upset stomach, diarrhea. I'm drinking it for upset stomach, diarrhea. Why would I want to drink something that could give me the symptoms I want to get rid of? And so that's why I'm very passionate about sharing about all these natural plant ways that a little goes a long way, and they have effects on you that go beyond just the pain, or just the discomfort, or just, that soreness, or, it doesn't just soothe something, but on a emotional level, you breathe more deeply and you start to think, there was an emotional trigger involved in this feeling. And it's true. I totally did. And I realized that for me, when I smell wintergreen, I think about a hideaway, and my room is kind of like that to me as well. I actually have the curtains darkened out just like my grandfather always had them, because my husband works similar time frames, and he also has always been like, massage me, not his feet, mostly his back now, but when we just got together, I was always massaging his feet. And because of essential oils, he doesn't get those pains anymore. Because there's one thing that my grandfather never got with his regimen. And I don't know if you realize this, that conventional medicine is powerful. It totally is. It has these powerful chemicals. They're amazing because it takes a great deal of research and understanding and knowledge and education to even begin to put together what, for example, methyl salicylate is. Like, finding that out, studying, getting the molecular structure, creating the discipline, that takes a lot of work. It's a huge investment. That's why the medical industry and the chemical industry, they come with costs. Make no mistake about it. And I'm going to tell you something. I am huge about natural approaches, but not because I'm anti-chemical and I'm anti-medical field. Not at all. I grew up running around in the clinic of a doctor. My grandfather is in obstetrics and general surgery. That was his life before he had children, and he used to work at a hospital in the emergency room in Venezuela. And his daughter followed in his steps, and I wanted to be a surgeon as well. I just took a whole different route. Eventually I will get to the destination, I believe, but basically, I have seen my aunt sitting with all the books, with all the math and all the things. I've seen all the books with all the diseases. And it's amazing what we know as humans with science. It is. And at the same time, the truth is that what science is doing in essence, because there is so much more to learn, that it is chasing the symptomology. You know what I mean? It's chasing the pains and the aches and the cracks and the this and the that. They haven't developed, and this is the truth, this is a reality check that you need to admit, I need to admit, that they haven't figured out how to keep the body from breaking down. And the medical system is obviously there to keep us going when, the proverbial shit hits the fan. And it's necessary. It is an amazing industry and an amazing field of wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and discovery. So I would never tell somebody, if you decide to go with a treatment, do it. Do it, give it 100%, put your mind to it, your body to it, so that you overcome that near-death experience of your body breaking down, because medicine does that. However, remember, whatever is happening in your body, right? Prevention doesn't come from dealing with the symptoms. Prevention goes with going to the root of the problem. So for example, root of the problem, I'm actually probably have been dealing with something emotional that I didn't want to talk about. And this oil, this plant brought it up like that instantly, because it brought me there without anything else. It's that powerful. But at the same time, what I want to say in the beginning, remember I mentioned my grandfather never got this, but my husband did, because he was suffering from similar aches and pains in his feet. And I did the exact same thing, the massaging and the thing and the oil and the diet changes. And I was like, you got to do it, because you know where you're headed. I know where my grandfather was, popping aspirin every single day and getting his massage done for his feet every day. Now, beautiful, we got to love on him and massage his feet, but he never got his arteries to be healthy again like when he was young. And I could tell you with 100% confidence that when you go the route of the earth, when you combine and do an integral approach, like integrate the two, put them together. Once you're done getting yourself out of the danger zone, I might die, you're in Erste Hope, you're in ER, emergency room, you get all the symptomology out of the way, you get strong enough to walk around, then you go back and look at nature. What works for this same problem in nature, and give it your best shot. I can tell you, it could take 6 weeks, it could take 6 months, it could take 1 year. And after that period, when your body has healed and restored, because your body has that capacity, when you've mentally restored and you're physically restored, you will not have to go back to that near-death emergency situation. Unless, of course, you fall off a cliff, or whatever. I mean, that's why the beauty of having such a solid and wide and deep level of wisdom and research and science in the world. We are in an amazing time. The one main thing that I see, though, is a lot of people they think that pursuing health is just popping a pill or taking radiation for the symptoms. And when they're done with that, they go right back to not giving their body what it needs to restore. And if there's anything that you should take away from this video, it's my hope that you choose to take away that whatever happens, whatever difficulties you have emotionally or spiritually or help with your body's system, like whatever is out of balance, you can get your wellness line up after you've dealt with the symptoms, so you can keep going, so you can keep working, so you can keep functioning. After you've done that, look again and go, what can I do to promote my body's own healing capacity and put that on it? Listen, wintergreen was used with Native Americans for preventing tooth decay before there was any Colgate and brushes and mouth rinses and any of it. They were already doing it. So the ancient knowledge of the plants goes hand in hand, and it can help you have even less health crises, less problems, less worries, and a more happy, balanced life. And I want to encourage you. I hope this encourages you. And if you know anybody who is dealing with any kind of sports pain or whatever and could benefit from anything you heard on this video, I would so appreciate it if you tagged them, if you shared this with them. And I will be back some other time with another mini class on one essential oil or one plant and just some interesting information I discover on the journey. I wish you a wonderful night. Have a great night and take care. God bless. Bye.